Hi, I'm Victoria Lisi, and I teach drawing at Ames Community College in Loveland. And in this exercise, it's going to be working on toned paper with Conte pencils and some white pastel. I picked this toned paper because I'm doing this bobcat, and if you look at the yellow of the paper, which is something I did myself, I put some watercolors over this paper, kind of matches a little bit the yellow in the bobcat. And the speckledness, to me the bobcat looks very speckled, so we're going to see how this works. I'm going to start out just in a regular pencil just to get some shapes really quickly in. So again, starting with your basic shapes, I'm not going to do the whole cat, I'm just going to do his head and shoulders. I see kind of an oval that's sort of long, on the long side, and I see two little cones that are his ears. And then I see sort of a cylinder that comes down for his head. And then I'm just going to, very roughly, I'm going to get sort of some marks down where I think his features go. And I see another oval here that's his snout. And then I'm just going to sort of get his eyes, and it's very rough. So now I'm going to start in with my pencils. And I think I'm going to, when I do Conte, I actually mix colored pencils in it. And this is a very fine colored pencil called Very Thin. I find that it's a little easier to control. And I'm just going to go in and start again on my contour. And hopefully you'll see this pretty well. I'm going to get darker colors in here shortly, but I just want to get some shapes in here, kind of for how his head goes. This is a young bobcat, so he's got a little bit of kittenish features. And I want to get his eyes in, so I'm going to line up his eyes, and I'm going to start with one eye. And to me, this is, again, the most important thing is getting the eyes. And I'm just doing them a little bit lightly because I may have done them wrong, and I might need to redo them. So I'm trying to get the eyes approximately the same size. So that's the first thing I'm trying to do. And then I'm just going to get his nose down here, approximately where I think it is, and then his mouth. So now I'm going to go in with a darker pencil, and I'm going to really focus in on his eyes. And this is a pretty dark photo, so I actually can't see the inside of his eyes at all. I'm going to sort of have to make them up. But I have cats, and I'm pretty familiar with cat eyes, so hopefully he'll look like a bobcat. So these are both ovals, and I'm trying to get them the same size. And I'm going to get some pupils in. Again, I'm just going to remember my cat's pupils. And I always leave a little highlight area. So I've got that in, and now I'm going to go down to his nose. Again, I'm trying to make it symmetrical. So I'm trying to get the two nose shapes the same, and then go down into his mouth. And bobcats, like cats, they have these kind of slightly smiley mouths. So there we've got the beginning of this cat. And I think I'm going to just start get some of the ears in, and I'm just going to do some of the dark colors. And I'm going to switch from different colored Conte pencils. This is a black Conte. Actually, it's a black Prismacolor. There's a black Conte. I mix Conte with Prismacolor because I find that sometimes I have a little more control with the Prismacolors. So I'm just going to get these dark ear shapes in. And what I like about this is you'll see I'll be able to use white later on to bring out the lights. So I'm just going to start working on this cat. And you've got very distinct eye markings. They look a lot like tabby cats. And it's a little hard to get it symmetrical. But animals aren't perfectly symmetrical, so if you're off a little bit, it's okay. So I'm going to go in, and I think I want to get his eyes first. I always just like to start with the eyes. So I'm going to get some real darks in there. Again, I'm using a combination of Prismacolor and Conte. And I just want to get, some people do the eyes last. I always do the eyes first. I don't know why. I just feel I have this anxiety until the eyes are done properly. So I'm going to try to make the other eye match. And I follow pretty much, it's very similar to how I would do a human face as an animal face. Try to make the eyes match and make them symmetrical if it's a front view. And then I'm going to just go in, get some of these fur shapes in. And his eyes are quite dark, and they're probably green or something, but I don't have a green, so I'm just gonna put in some brown colors here. Make the eyes pretty dark, because they're much darker than his fur. But I'm leaving that highlight. Leaving that highlight, that's really important, because that'll make his eyes look like they have some sparkle. And I'm just going to go back and forth. A lot of this is just going over, and sometimes I'll use a sharper, harder pencil. Try to really get these eyes, because to me that's gonna make or break this drawing, is the eyes. Then I'm going to switch to a different color. He's got a lot of brown in his fur, so I'm going to switch to this brown. And again, I'm always going to kind of do my lines, my shading, in the direction that the fur grows in. So to me, along his nose, it seems to grow like that. And then he's got these fairly dark little patches that go down below his nose. And you can go mix your browns, and they can go over the blacks. You can just and just following what I see. And I'm trying to, if you see, notice I'm trying to, when I do one side, I'm trying to do the other shortly after that, because I want the cat's very symmetrical. If you went a line right through him, you would see that there's a lot of symmetry on him. So by going back and forth, I sort of remember to not get confused and have them asymmetrical. And so I'm going to go back to my blacks and I think work on his nose some, because he has this kind of black outline on his nose. And he's got sort of a dark mouth, and it's sort of fuzzy, so I can just fuzz it out. And he's got these whiskers. Holes for his whiskers. And I'm going to do the whiskers, the actual whiskers last, and I'll show you I have a way of doing them that's kind of cool, but we're going to wait. I'm going to wait till the end to do him that way, because so I'm just getting shading in and going back to the browns, and I'm letting the yellow of the paper just work for me. And let's see, do I have a slightly pinkish color for his nose? I don't have a real pink, but I'm just going to use a slightly redder color. It's not a real pink, but this is not a full color. It's just got a little bit of color in them. So again, this would. I'm just going to concentrate on his face because this would take a long time to do him justice. He's a beautiful cat. So, and just, again, I'm going back and forth, working very symmetrically on him. And I want to get his sort of face in here completed. And just trying to get the markings right. And this go into his ears. He's got very long. He's got sort of a. They've got kind of a rough. Do you want to be sure to record? And again, I'm just going again. I'm trying to keep them symmetrical, so I'm going back to this side. I did that side, now I'm doing this side. I find for me that's the easiest way to sort of. Otherwise, I might just go off on a tangent and get them all lopsided, which I don't want to do. So, and then I'm going to take some of this more pink color to color on the inside of his ears because they are slightly reddish. And I'm going to just try to get some values in here. Again, I'm just sort of doing the pencil kind of in the direction I imagine the fur is growing. And you can see he's starting to come to life a little bit. And just again, I'm always doing the fur like how I imagine. I'm doing all my hatch marks. These are all hatches. In the direction I think the fur is growing. So it changes. All the fur just doesn't go in one direction. According to where it is on the cat, it's going to go in a different direction, and I want to try to get all those directions in here. And one thing I have is I have a couple of white pencils, so I'm going to go in and actually put some white fur. Hopefully it'll show up. So I can go in, and that's just the advantage of having the yellow paper. Let's see which white shows better. And by having a little white, and it'll kind of gray the cat down too, but I'll put some white fur in too. He's got white under his eyes. And he's got a lot of white along here. So I'm going to go back and forth, and I'm going to put some of the white in. And you'll see he's got a lot of white. And the white tends, by putting the white on, it tends to make him look more gray, but he has a lot of gray, so that's okay. So I'm just going to go back. I think he needs more blacks. And I want to get some deep values in him here and there. And really want to get him to pop. So again, I want my darkest darks right around his eyes, because that's the focal point of this particular drying. And then he also has quite a bit of darks around his nose. So I want to bring that out more. And then he's got shading. And his mouth is actually fairly dark. And again, you can always squint. Remember to squint when you look at your subject to kind of get the shadows better, but don't squint when you look at your drawing. And let's go back, use some colors. Some places seem a little more, again, I think the inside of his ears are fairly dark in certain areas, so I'm just going to darken them. And then again, these are not exact colors. The inside of his ears are quite pink, but I only have a few colors, so I'm just going to go with the colors I have and not trying to make an exact match with the colors. I'm just trying to get the sense of the cat. And I'm just going back and forth, working where I feel like working. And having fun. And before I go too far, I want to, just to make sure that we go over this. This is a gel pen, and it's a white gel pen, and I'm going to go over the eyes with it because it'll make them, hopefully, it'll make them, I don't know if this is, oh, there we go. Gives you some real white. And I'll go back to that. But I'm going to use that when I do the whiskers. So again, I'm going over the blacks to make them a little browner in areas and just keep refining him. Getting him a little darker and getting some more shading in. Again, I'm always making the lines in the direction the fur goes. Probably repeating myself a lot, but that's one of the mistakes I see students make a lot. If they just make the fur all go in one direction, and it doesn't. It goes in different directions depending on the position the animal is in and other factors. He's got so many markings. We're going to get some shadows under here. And I'm not going to take him all the way to completion. I'm just trying to have you all see kind of how I proceed with working on colored ground with colored pencils. And I really like it for animals. I think it lends itself particularly well. Also, it's really good for people. We are seeing him a little bit here, come together, come to life. And just a little more color. And I want to get to the whiskers. That's really fun. But I can't do them until I've gotten more of this done. You'll see what I mean when I do them. So. And I'm going to put some whites down here. And I want this to be more gray, so I'm actually smearing some of the black into the white to give it that more gray look that I see. And let's get a little more red to his nose. All right, so now I'm going to do whiskers, and hopefully this works. see. Gotta get this ink to flow. Oops. I think this has to be flat for this to work. I don't know if you can see that there's some whiskers in there. I don't think it's going to show up, but this is actually white. And if it were flowing properly, it would look really cool, but it's not. Oh well. So I hope this just gives you an idea. I think his eyes just need a little more shading. And if you do the top part of the eyes darker, it makes, I think it makes them look more liquidy. He's got little wrinkles, but you see how the yellow of the paper really contributes, and then you can do the white right over. Let me see, I think this white is better. Yeah, and that makes it look sort of gray, but it just I can go in here, here. And then I can so anyway, there's your cat started. This could take quite a long time to finish up, but I think it gives you an idea of how fun it is to use some color in your drawing of an animal, and really it makes it look alive. The color is warm. It just really helps capture the essence. I love working on this toned paper. It's one of my favorite things to work on. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you will have fun experimenting with this. Thank you.